Sure, abuti honestly.
Yeah, and then from there you'll ask questions where you must ask those that bother us on certain things. You'll have not to ask them, and I trust you not to do that. I've not earlier on acknowledged the two gentlemen at the back, Gernel and Mwako Motlhalog. Yeah. They usually attend our committees as interested parties. I was not aware, Gernel, that when they speak about Gernel in draft, they are talking about you. Now, at least I understand you are an interested party in the real sense of the developments. So it's in your right to attend. You are protected by the laws to attend and listen to the developments where you have interest as a South African citizen. So feel comfortable, yeah. Even those who are following, there are a lot who are following from home now. Are we on now? Yes, sir. Colleagues, thanks very much. We are starting now. Maybe to give you a background, Letsoalo, that we've invited you here as a sequel to the meeting that we would have had on the 3rd. When we met with your board, led by the DM, the Honorable the Deputy Minister, on the 3rd, we're meeting on the basis that we wanted a brief because it was all over the media that you are on special leave. Fortunately or unfortunately, whatever the appropriate word will be, was that on the day when we met the board, on that morning, we also learned then that you are now on suspension. And in relation to that, we then asked questions to the board which were not getting answers. We did not get sufficient answers from the board. Hence, we then requested that we may need to have more of engagement with them, and we requested that the only opportunity for them to come is today. We also had to then invite you because certain things for members to formulate their views and position, they may want to hear certain side of the story from your side. I must indicate that that decision to invite you put us in a dilemma. And we had to get a legal opinion whether we can invite, and I must say this on record so that it is captured, whether we could invite someone who's suspended to come and appear before us to get further information from that individual. And I think we got advised that if that is in pursuant in assistance of getting to understand more and to assist us to continue our oversight work, and that will be helpful and enriching. It is therefore within our right and within the law that we can do that. So it is on the basis that you are here. We also learned yesterday that you had filed your papers with the court. I don't know whether it's the High Court. I'm told it's the High Court. That you want to challenge certain aspects. We do not have merits at this particular point. You would have been here, you would have heard, we do not have merits of what we are challenging or not challenging. But we know that is in relation to a suspension. We may not want you to go into that. We are not taking you to court on what you are challenging, how you are challenging it. The merits is up to you to decide what you want to tell us, what you want it to be in the public, and what you do not want. But for our reports, there are specific answers we would want from yourself. And these honorable members who are here from various political party divides are interested in understanding from your side certain issues relating to the operation of the entity, which is of great interest to the people of South Africa because there are a lot of complaints about unpaid claims and so forth. We only hear today that we have a CIO, there are challenges with the CIO who's also now suspended and all that. We would want you to take us into confidence so that as a citizen of South Africa who wants to help this committee to achieve its oversight responsibility, we trust you can do that. I'm going to allow you an opportunity to reflect. We'll give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes summatively to take us through. From there, honorable members will be given 3 minutes each to ask you questions, and then you will answer, then we'll close. I think that will be sufficient. We must appreciate the fact that you came. The secretary did indicate to me yesterday that you had a challenge in relation to the approvals of your travels because of the existing issues with the board and so forth. That is noted. We appreciate the fact that you're able to arrive. I'm going to allow you an opportunity, and over to you.
No, thanks very much, Chair. Thank you very much to honorable members. I don't take it for granted, the opportunity I get. I must say a lot of South Africans that find themselves in my position never really get the opportunity to air their side of the story, and I think it's important. I don't think that it's only important to me, I think it's important to my family. It's important to my kids. It's important to my father, who is not doing very well. And this thing keeps on happening to me, Chair. I don't know what I've done to South Africa. But I'm going to explain this thing because it is not for the first time, Chair, I appear in front of PCOT. Last time I appeared under the same guise was at Prasa, where I was accused of having paid myself 350%. And it was shocking that someone can say it's the first time in the history and all that, because that's not true. But I think what becomes important, Chair, I think one is that I'm being muzzled, and you'd see it with the continuous decisions that are taken. I'm being muzzled because I'm vocal about a couple of matters. But let's start firstly here, Chair. I came here with the money of my children. Yeah. I have booked myself in because apparently I can't fly. I don't know whether I'm fired or not. To come to honor an invitation by PCOT. You would recall, Chair, that I am on suspension because apparently I refused to come to Scopa. Now, I don't know whether I was supposed to not come also to PCOT when PCOT invites me. I've returned to the Chair, and I think I've given to the Secretariat of your committee the response I got that I must not be here. In fact, I might just be charged again for insubordination because one of the conditions is that I must be in Gauteng. I must be in Gauteng, I must not leave Gauteng, I must be in Gauteng. So I am actually breaching that condition by honoring your invite. So I hope I'll get the protection I need in that regard, because I might just wake up and find myself with this. Chair, there's no crisis at the RAF. You say it's a psychosis. There's no crisis at the RAF. It's man-made. It starts because of my appointment, and I'm going to give you a sense of what's happening. And I'm going to show you that we have achieved what we have achieved in spite of the lack of support from the executive authority or the department. Let me just say the department, because I think it's in the main. And I hasten to add this because when you say these things, people make it personal. The reality is this, and I think much as the Deputy Minister was allowed to say things, I'm sure I'm allowed to say this thing, Chair, that the Deputy Minister has taken off from his time at Scopa to continue with, I don't think it's even personal, it's a thing he has against the RAF. And I'm gonna show you through this process. So we have a draft amendment bill. It is in the department, it has not moved. I think since 2022. We've got a funeral benefits cap memo that we wanted to get in terms of section, I think it's 11. of the RAF Act, the board is allowed to advise the minister on matters concerning regulations. It's there in terms of the act. I think I must just give you the provision. I think it's 11.4. I'll be correct here. 11.1a, Roman figure 5, which says the board shall, subject to the powers of the minister, exercise overall authority over the financial position, operation, and management of the fund, and may inter alia, A, make recommendation to the minister in respect of, it says, any regulation to be made under this act. So we do that. There is an actuarial calculator that has been put in there, because what we are finding is that a lot of money goes to a thing called the general damages. We don't know what that is. A lot of lawyers would go and say a lot of things, and then we're paying money, and it's something that is not understood. And then, of course, there is issues around appointment of board members. There is a representative of the board that comes from the department. They don't tell you that they appointed that person, I think, this Monday. Before then, since the former representative left, they have not appointed any person. And of course, then there is issues around the reappointment, which I'll come to. And then I'm going to tell you about the SIU, because I think it becomes important that when you deal about this issue, Chair, you think about this issue about the SIU and what had happened in this regard. So all these things are stuck in the Department of Transport, and they have not gone anywhere. We've been asking for them to come, they have not. In fact, the only thing that they did is that we received a letter from the Deputy Minister talking about the withdrawal of the draft amendment bill. Those that pride themselves with stopping this had told us that this thing will be withdrawn. And indeed it was withdrawn. Replaced with what? The so-called RAPS bill, which failed in Parliament. But we have never got anything like a gazette that says it was withdrawn. It's a letter like that. And when we asked, we were told you'll have a meeting. Then, of course, the next part is you then have you'd have received our strategic plan of 2025-2030. And I want to invite you to read page 2 there of what the minister says. The minister says we'll continue with the draft amendment bill. Remember, we were told it was withdrawn, but the minister says we'll continue with it. And I think the DM keeps on calling, going back and saying, well, there is the RAPS bill. What is happening here? At the center of this is the soul of the RAF that needs to be captured by certain individuals. And it has taken some form. And you see this board going all over. And Chase, because they are scared. They are fearful. They've been threatened. They are acting out of character simply because they've been threatened. So they've been divided. Because they have held the fort. 84.5% performance in an organization where you don't get a cent. Okay? Go to SAA. They received money. Go to Transnet. They received money. Go to PRASA. They received money. Go to South African Post Office. They received money for their turnaround. The turnaround of RAF has never got a single cent. And that's a fact. So, that's a fact. So, what do they then do? Then there are those that we found in the RAF. People that used to get 1.2 billion a year. In fact, at the time, when we started this work, Michael Di Broglio said to me, the lowest amount I got was only 65 million a month. He used to get, Adams and Adams used to get 100 million a month. Those were called fixed allocations. How did they happen, Chair? There was an agreement with certain law firms. Big as they are, and people are going to say I'm making it about black and white. Check them. If they are white or black, go and check them, the top 20. They used to get 1.2 billion each and every year at the top, which is Adams and Adams, Hartnell and Associates, Di Broglio and all the others. What did they do? They used to take that money allocated to their clients. We changed that. We said the oldest debt first. It doesn't matter whether you come from Makotlangu Incorporated at the corner, but the oldest debt first. At the time, which is going to explain the issue of Mr. Mudiba. You'll see it. At the time, those law firms in the top 20 had probably 30 days. There were law firms that were sitting with 1,800 days of debt. So we came as finance people, we said we must stratify this debt. And I think Mr. Mudiba was at the center of it, to stratify the debt. What did it do? We stopped payment to the ones that were 30 days, and we were saying all of them must come closer, and then we agreed on 180 days. We went to court, we asked for 45A to support that, to suspend certain court orders until 180 days. Hell broke loose. Because suddenly, these law firms that used to make a lot of money out of RAF did not make it. And we got on. As we get on, people just put the pressure, they piled the pressure, they piled the pressure. And they piled the pressure on the board chair. It's painful to watch this board made up of seasoned professionals. The chairperson of the audit committee is an actuary. Okay? There are doctors in here. They are serious people. So, decisions are taken. So, when did this sudden disconnect happen? And where people try to throw each other under the bus? And I want to settle, Chair, because I want to allow you guys to ask questions. When did this happen? So, somewhere in November last year, I pick up that certain law firms have hired a company called Communicate. And these law firms were going to use, and I've said this in public, Chair, so I'm going to repeat it again, certain professors, one of them being Henny Klopper, but other professors as well, to try and put this mounting campaign about Letsoalo and the fact that he must never see his way back into the RAF. And I pick it up, I raise it, and I know certain editors also met, but I know their names, and I told them, I said, well, sue me if you are saying all that. And I've been threatened with being sued, but I'm not worried, because, you must come under oath, and I've got that information. So they start this campaign. Then it takes the form of attacking the board, trying to separate me from the board, isolate me, do a couple of things. We discussed this with the board. We agree this is the direction we must go, and we must keep on. So this had started, Chair, a long time ago, but it was before the hiring of this company.
As you summarize.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then suddenly I get a call from the chair somewhere around February that says, I just had a meeting with the deputy minister. He is of the view, and she raised this issue that the AXA CEO's position was not advertised. And that that creates issues, and the preference of the ministries that the position must be advertised. My position. So I say, but Chair, what was the nature of this meeting? and what were you discussing and who called it and what was the thing. But in any event, you are talking to me, I'm conflicted because in my view, I still want to stand a chance whether you go to advertise or whatever the board decision would be. Then this apparently went to the board. Of course, when they discuss those matters, I recuse myself because I'm conflicted. But that's what it happened. So this instruction to go and advertise started long before. It goes to the board, and apparently it does not find favor. And how do I get to know about it is because then I'm asked to go and write a 360. This 360 comes as a decision of the ministry in August last year, I think. Yeah, in August last year, we were called, all of us, and we were told there is a thing called reappointment of CEO. And if there's a reappointment that is required, Chair. Yeah, by the way, there are CEOs there that have got, they're on their third term at the Department of Transport. And they said, if you want that, you must bring this and the 360. That's how I got. So my 360 ends on the 14th of May. Chair. I did my 360 on the 14th of May, meaning there was a decision to reappoint. So then what also happens in this space is that we are now pushed at Scopa. This thing, come. And there's an SIU thing. So we receive a letter. It's a strange letter that says there is some sort of interference, but it comes from the minister. There is some sort of interference. Please warn executives if they are. We say, no, what is this now? But it came after the meeting of the 25th of April, where I think it's in this very room where Scopa was, or whether it was online, but it was where the SIU had been saying things, disparaging things. And I had been engaging them, by the way, and that they are not allowed, they are not working according to this, and then this is what happens. But Chair, they must tell you that yesterday, the DM said to them, there shall never be any letter that comes here that talks about reappointment. He instructed the board. And yesterday they went and discussed also about the fact that they made a mistake by not adding this thing of the SIU in my letter. But they're saying this in front of executives. Of course they were going to tell me. So they are aware of this thing. So the pressure is coming from the ministry, Chair, led by the deputy minister. There's no question about it. He can say that. I'll tell him the number of letters. Every other week we receive a letter at the RAF. We must respond to it. You must ask them the number of special meetings they had to hold because they've taken a decision. Somehow it went out of the board and the DM is aware of it. Then suddenly a letter comes that says, why are you deciding this? Why are you deciding that? So, Chair, is it true that there is interference at the RAF? So this thing is trying to create a whirlwind where this thing must just be seen as this mini mess. There is no state entity or any entity, Chair, that can perform consistently at the rate average 85% over 5 years that is in this mess. So there's no mess here. The difficulty, Chair, of the other members is that they can't raise their hands, they can't say it. I thought today they'll be given an opportunity, Chair. They must tell you what's happening in there. I'm happy that you'll go and to get the letter that comes from the audit committee. I'm sure it will raise issues. Lastly, Chair, they are just lies that have been told. It's not misrepresentation. So, one is that you are told I received my letter before they came here on the 3rd. No. I received my...
Let's not say lies, let's say misleading information for our sake.
Okay, Chair.
Yeah, for the sake of our record.
It's fine, Chair. Can I be allowed to use a fib? Is it a fib?
No, just use misleading information.
Okay. So there's disinformation, misinformation and all that. My letter I received on the 25th, 25 past 9. I was watching. As my suspension was there, everyone in South Africa was seeing it. My children are seeing it for the first time. I've not even spoken to them. There it is. My wife sees this. She calls me. What's going on? I'm like, love, I don't know. All right? The suspension of Mr. Mudiba, the very same thing, Chair. All right? But, Chair, I want to touch on one aspect. I'm going to deal with that. But, yeah, as I conclude, because Then there is a story about the 27th, the 28th. No, I was coming here. In fact, I can give you tapes of what the chair says. Apparently, this thing was about to be compassionate leave. She was supposed to talk to me as the chairperson, and suddenly this is a decision that is taken to place me on special leave. That was not a board decision, Chair, I can assure you. So now, every time these other board members raise issues, they are then muzzled. So I come here, I fly on the 27th at night. They know that I'm flying at a 9 o'clock flight. Then at 10 to 11 at night is then that I receive my, no one even says check your email, nothing. As I'm preparing to come to Scopa at around 7, I wake up, I check. Oh, I see this thing. It's even telling me who's going to act on my behalf. Of course, I call the part 2 and I say, part 2 take over, and he's resisting. No, I can't go there without you. No, go, man. It's fine. Because the aim was that if I come here, then I'll be insubordinating. If I came here, Chair, I would be insubordinating the letter that placed me on an unlawful special leave. Okay, so I decided to stay in the hotel. I watched this whole drama at the hotel. I had the chair sitting here adding reasons for my special leave, which were not even in the letter. But then, fast track, the next day, Chair, they were, as I conclude, they were at all these things they are doing now, suspending this person, doing this, and ultimately they want to remove part 2 as well. The aim was, they went there, the REMCO chairperson, the deputy chair and the chair went into rough offices. Fortunately for us, someone was sitting next door and listened to everything they were saying. It was to suspend me, suspend Sefutle, suspend Mampi, Kumalo, remove Mpomanyasha back to her position, put part 2 is malleable, they can do whatever they want to control him, and then appoint certain people. In that meeting, they were calling people that were below us. Come here, tell us about this. We want to appoint you in that position and all that. That's what they will be doing the next day after the 28th. I wrote them a letter on the 30th because they had said that my special conditions were going to be discussed by the 30th, and they didn't. And they did not bring it to the attention of the board. Notwithstanding the fact that they had told me. When I realized it, that Saturday on the 31st, I sent them a letter. And in it, they were saying a lot of other things. You'll see it in my papers, Chair. It's attached there. But, Chair, I'm sitting here. The chair has arrived here with her bodyguards. They've taken away my security. I flew alone. There were people that tried to kill me twice, and they know it, and that's why I've got security. Today, I'm for the taking, Chair. And they made sure. And for me, Chair, let me say this as I conclude.
Yeah, conclude.
I'm prepared to die, Chair, for the truth. I am prepared to die for taking on the likes of Discovery, the likes of Bonitas, the likes of Gertnel and Associate, the likes of any other person in the interest of South Africans. This 50 billion that we talk about was going into those hands. Today it's sitting in the hands of South Africans, and I'm proud of it. Anything that happens to me, Chair, I'm not a coward. I've never been brought up like that. And for me, it's fine.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Nothing. Sure, I would do ownership.